Mobix Labs is a company working in the wireless technology space and could play a key role in how we live our future lives. So with me is the CEO, Fabian Battaglia, the CEO of Mobix Labs. Great to see you here
Great to see
at the
you.
studio. So I was going over some of your press releases since we last spoke, and you've been busy.
Very busy.
You've made a key hire, you've got some awards, an acquisition. I mean, let's start with the acquisition. Tell me about that and how does that fit into your company?
Sure. Well, the strategy that we're deploying is very similar to a company you might know, Microsemi. And if you take a look at our management team, our board of directors, there's a heavy influence from Microsemi. And there we deployed a strategy where we focus primarily on our core capability, our core IP. And we grew organically, but we also complemented that with an M&A strategy, and we did that very successfully. And that's not easy to do, but we were very prolific in that. And it was a successful strategy, and we intend to do the same thing here at Mobix Labs. So we were fortunate to find Cosemi. They're in the active optical cable business, AOC as it's known, and there are some interesting synergies where they play, the markets that they serve, and what they're trying to accomplish to what we're doing on the wireless side. So we're fortunate to be able to acquire them.
That's interesting. Yeah. And you said something interesting there about how like M&A isn't that easy. How do you do the research and figure out what kind of company fits with where you're going?
Yeah, well, we do that constantly. So there's always a list of companies that we are looking at. Really, the challenge becomes more so in the post-acquisition, the integration. You have multiple groups, there's cultures that you have to integrate, and I, in my opinion, that's one of the biggest challenges, is integrating the cultures. And that, I think, is something that we've learned to do with all the acquisitions that we've done in the past. And we have a formula for that, and we're very good at it, and we intend to do more of it going forward.
Okay, interesting. And you're in the wireless space and wired space too, I understand. So let's talk about wireless for a second, because everything I read is 5G, connected cities, cars. I mean, your company is going to play a role in that, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Tell me about that industry.
Yes, well, it's expanding.
Yeah.
Wireless is going to be a greater part of our everyday lives. The way we work, the way we educate ourselves, the way we entertain ourselves. If you take a look at the bandwidth that exists today, and primarily 4G LTE on the wireless side, although 5G at the lower frequency is now what we're familiar with, but the 5G specification calls out for a much faster rate, and that's where we live, in what's called the mmWave space. And that's the 24 gig to 44 gig space, and that's the spectrum that we're primarily focused on. We do have some products that fit in what's called sub 6 gig for 5G, and that's what's commonly used today for 5G. But it's going to be important because the bandwidth, or the pipe, if you will, is getting full in the 4G LTE space. So things like COVID has actually made it even more challenging.
Interesting.
Because what we do at home, the way we work and educate, as you can imagine, it's requiring more and more bandwidth. So what the promise of 5G will be is to increase the size of that pipe. And in the mmWave space is where you're going to see those increases, and that's what we're focused on.
Okay, and kind of bring that home, like what will that mean for how we live on a day-to-day basis?
Well, again, it will be the way we work, the way we educate ourselves. There's also some very interesting medical applications. And what we've actually been working on more recently are automotive applications. If you take a look at the vehicle, it effectively is a mobile data center. And there's more that's coming. There's some remarkable work that's being done in Detroit, and we're getting exposed to some pretty interesting use cases, and I think wireless is going to be a very important part in having those use cases become a reality.
Yeah. Now, last time we spoke, you had just gotten a $10 million investment, so that was a few months ago. How was that allocated?
Yeah.
Are you looking for more investment? Where are you with all that?
Yes, well, we are looking for further investment. the majority of that investment has gone into R&D. So we had a flagship device, which we're about to start sampling now, but we also developed a chipset around this device, which we're going to be introducing shortly. So that investment, or a large part of that investment, was in R&D resources and the associated cost to develop that chipset.
I see. And that just, what's next for Mobix Labs, the next short term and medium term?
Well, short term, what we want to do is we're working with customers and partners now to get 5G in the mmWave space to become a reality. And we anticipate over the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to see an interesting ramp up in the mmWave space. So we're heads down, focused on getting that chipset and 5G in the mmWave space into the market. And then additionally to that, as I mentioned, we're looking at some strategic acquisitions as we're taking a look at the applications that we're focused in right now from a broader perspective, things like co-semi, which gives us a connectivity play. We're looking at other parts of the ecosystem that we think that we can integrate together with our core technology.
Okay, it's going to be very interesting to watch all this unfold and live through it. Thank you so much,
Great.
Fabian.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.